In the vast and shadowed world of Norse mythology, no figure stands taller than Odin, the Allfather, god of wisdom, war, death, and prophecy. With a single eye that sees far beyond the veil of time and a mind sharpened by sacrifice and ancient knowledge, Odin is the weaver of fate and the guardian of cosmic order. He rules not through brute strength, but through cunning, foresight, and relentless pursuit of truth, even when that truth foretells his own destruction. And yet, despite all his power, despite the armies he commands and the secrets he knows, Odin is doomed. The end of the gods, known as Ragnarok, is foretold long before it arrives, and Odin, who has read the runes and spoken with the dead, knows exactly what it means. He knows that he will die, devoured by a monstrous wolf born of chaos. But instead of fleeing his fate, he rides toward it. This is not just a story of death. It is a story of purpose, sacrifice, and the timeless struggle between order and chaos. This is the tale of Odin's final hour, and how the fall of a god became the seed of a new world. Odin is the chief of the Asir, the pantheon of gods who rule Asgard. He is a god unlike any other, not merely a warrior or a ruler, but a relentless seeker of wisdom. He sacrificed one of his eyes at the well of Mimir to gain knowledge of the cosmos, and later, he hung himself on the world tree, Yggdrasil, pierced by his own spear, for 9 days and nights to uncover the runes, the secret language of fate and magic. More than anything, Odin is defined by sacrifice. He does not pursue comfort or immortality, but meaning and mastery over destiny. He is the patron of poets, kings, and shamans, those who seek to shape the world through thought and will. Odin commands the Valkyries, the female spirits who select brave warriors from the battlefield and bring them to Valhalla, his great hall, where they train in preparation for Ragnarok. He wields Gungnir, a spear that never misses, and rides Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse that can travel between worlds. Yet for all his strength and wisdom, Odin cannot escape fate. He knows how everything ends, and he knows his own end is written in blood and fire. Still, he prepares. Odin's life is shaped by a singular, chilling truth. The world will end in a storm of fire and blood. This final cataclysm is called Ragnarok, the doom of the gods, a prophecy that Odin has known for ages. He learns of it through ancient seers, cryptic runes, and whispered words from the dead. Each vision tells the same tale. The gods will fall, the world will burn, and a new age will rise from the ashes. Rather than cower before this fate, Odin spends centuries preparing. He travels across the 9 realms in search of knowledge, consulting the wise and the damned. He even ventures to Hell, the land of the dead, to awaken a long-buried seeress who confirms his doom. The gods will be betrayed by Loki, his monstrous children, Fenrir the wolf, Jormungandr the world serpent, and Hel will rise against him. And Odin himself will be devoured by Fenrir in the final battle. To resist this fate, Odin establishes Valhalla, where fallen warriors, the Einherjar, are brought by Valkyries to train for the end. These heroes will be his army when Ragnarok comes. He also fathers sons, like Thor and Vidar, to fight when he can no longer stand. Yet nothing he does can prevent what's coming. The prophecy is clear, and Odin knows it. But he also knows this. It is not the avoidance of fate that defines a god. It is how one meets it. When Ragnarok finally arrives, the world begins to unmake itself. The great tree Yggdrasil trembles. The skies are torn apart. The sun and moon, chased for eons by monstrous wolves, are finally devoured, plunging the 9 realms into darkness. Earthquakes crack the foundations of the world, and mountains collapse into the sea. From the chaos emerges an army of destruction. Loki, the trickster god long imprisoned by the gods, breaks free of his bonds and marches at the head of the legions of hell. The fire giant Surt, wreathed in flame, leads the forces of Muspelheim with a sword that shines like the sun. The Midgard serpent, Jormungandr, rises from the ocean, poisoning sky and sea. And at the heart of this storm is Fenrir, the monstrous wolf destined to kill Odin. But the gods are not unprepared. From Asgard, Odin rides to war. Clad in golden armor, he carries Gungnir, his mighty spear, and mounts Sleipnir, his eight-legged horse. Behind him come the gods of the Aesir, Thor, Freyr, Tyr, Heimdall, and the Einherjar, the dead warriors of Valhalla, battle-hardened and unyielding. They meet on the plain of Víðarr, a battlefield stretching 100 leagues in every direction. The final battle begins in an explosion of chaos. Gods and monsters clash, swords ring against shields, and the sky burns with fire. Odin does not stand at the edge of battle. He rides into its very heart, for he knows this is where it must end, not with retreat, not with denial, but with courage in the face of destiny. Amid the fury of Ragnarok, the clash of gods and monsters shakes the very fabric of the cosmos. Fire rains from the sky, and the sea floods the earth. But in the heart of the storm, one battle holds the fate of all. Odin versus Fenrir. Fenrir, the monstrous wolf born of Loki and the giantess Angerboa, is no ordinary beast. His jaws are so vast they stretch from the heavens to the underworld. His eyes burn with hatred, not just of gods, but of the very order they represent. Once chained by Odin and the gods in fear of what he would become, Fenrir now returns with vengeance written in his fangs. Odin rides toward him, undaunted. He does not flinch, though he knows what's to come, for he has seen this death in countless visions. Gungnir in hand, he leads the charge, his voice booming above the chaos. But even gods can fall. Fenrir lunges, snapping jaws wide. Odin fights bravely, striking true with his spear, but the beast is unstoppable. With a shattering roar, Fenrir devours Odin whole, swallowing the Allfather in a single, brutal moment. The battlefield pauses just for a breath. The king of the gods is dead. It is a moment heavy with meaning. The death of Odin is the death of order, of wisdom, of the divine authority that held the cosmos in place. But it is also a death embraced with honor. Odin does not flee, does not beg. He rides in a doom willingly, a warrior to the end. His death signals more than loss. It is the breaking of the old world. But even as the gods despair, vengeance stirs, and the fire of resistance is not yet extinguished. As the dust of Odin's fall settles, a new figure steps forward from the chaos. Vidar, the silent son of Odin, god of vengeance and cosmic balance. He is a mysterious and stoic deity, often overlooked in the myths, but it is he who holds a secret purpose. For from the moment of his birth, Vidar was destined for this very moment, to avenge his father. He does not weep. He does not scream. Vidar moves with cold resolve, wearing a special shoe crafted from the discarded leather of all shoes ever made, designed for this one purpose, to slay the wolf that devoured Odin. He charges at Fenrir, and before the beast can strike, Vidar thrusts his enchanted boot into the wolf's gaping mouth, pinning the lower jaw to the ground. With divine strength, he grabs the upper jaw and, with a silent, crushing force, tears the wolf's mouth apart, killing the beast where it stands. The vengeance is swift, brutal, and final. With Fenrir's death, justice is delivered, and Odin's fall is honored in blood. Vidar, the quiet avenger, fulfills his fate, and in doing so, preserves a spark of hope that even in the darkest hour, righteousness can still prevail. The death of Odin is more than the fall of a god. It is the collapse of an entire worldview. Odin represents wisdom, foresight, leadership, and divine order. His fall at Ragnarok is the symbolic end of all these ideals. When Fenrir devours him, it is as though the very foundation of the cosmos, built on knowledge, sacrifice, and control, is consumed by chaos. But Odin's death is not meaningless. On the contrary, it is sacrificial and deliberate. He does not fight to survive. He fights to fulfill his role in the great cycle. Like the dying sun before a long night, his end signals both darkness and the possibility of new light. Odin knew his fate, but chose to meet it head-on. In that, he becomes a mythic archetype, the leader who dies so that others might live. His legacy lives on in those who survive, in Vidar's vengeance, in the rebirth of the world after Ragnarok, and in the memory of his courage. In the new world that rises from the ashes, green, peaceful, and reborn, his sons walk the earth, carrying the torch of a new age. Odin's story does not end with his death. It transforms, from prophecy to fulfillment, from godhood to legend. Odin's death is the beating heart of Ragnarok, not merely an end, but a revelation of what it means to lead, to sacrifice, and to face fate unflinchingly. The Allfather, armed with wisdom gained through suffering and visions bought at great cost, rides willingly into doom. He does so not because he hopes to survive, but because it is his duty to stand against the tide, even knowing he cannot hold it back. His fall at the jaws of Fenrir is tragic, but not in vain. It sparks the final act of the gods, the vengeance of Vidar, and the eventual rebirth of a better world. In this way, Odin does not simply die. He transcends, becoming an eternal symbol of courage in the face of destiny. His story reminds us that even gods fall, but how they fall, and why, is what truly matters.